From kings who drowned their sorrows in vodka to emperors who drank their way to power, drinking was a hallmark of many royals' reigns. From Russia to Rome, these rulers' thirst for power was matched only by their insatiable thirst for alcohol. We invite you to join us on a fascinating journey, exploring the world's top 10 alcoholic emperors in history. Number 10. Nicholas II. In the early 20th century, Nicholas II, the last Russian emperor, was known for his love of alcohol. His diaries are filled with entries recounting moments of drunkenness and enjoyment. One such entry in August 1904 reveals, quote, "After driving around all the canteens off the lower ranks and fairly loaded with vodka, I reached the officers' assembly," end quote. His indulgence didn't stop there. As in August 1906, he wrote, quote, "I tried 6 varieties of port wine and got slightly juiced, which made me sleep marvelously," end quote. Nicholas had specific preferences when it came to his alcoholic beverages. He would start his day with a shot of vodka before breakfast and then enjoy a glass of Madeira or a couple of glasses of port wine during meals. While he could handle 2 to 3 glasses of champagne, he rarely touched white or red wines. Among all the options, vodka, port wine, and plum brandy were regarded as his 3 favorite drinks. Number 9. Catherine I. The wife of Peter the Great and the Empress of Russia, she shared her husband's affinity for alcohol. Historical accounts paint a vivid picture of her indulgent lifestyle, which included frequent and extravagant drinking parties. Jacques de Compredon, the first French ambassador in Russia, noted in 1725, just 5 months after Peter the Great's death, that Catherine's favorite pastime was, quote, "almost daily drinking parties, which would last all night and a good part of the day," end quote. The Empress's penchant for alcohol was well known among those in her circle. A secretary for the Saxonian embassy revealed that Catherine would start her day with a portion of vodka, and she had a preference for vodka imported from Danzig. As the day progressed, she would switch to indulging in Hungarian wines, adding to her already substantial alcohol intake. Historian Evgeny Anisimov, a leading expert on this era, famously described Catherine's lifestyle as one of, quote, life-wasting, suggesting that her focus on revelry and excess took precedence over her responsibilities as empress. Number 8. Alexander III. In the annals of Russian history, Alexander III, the Tsar of Russia from 1881 to 1894, has often been the subject of rumors of excessive drinking and a premature death due to alcohol-related complications. However, historian Igor Zyman debunked these misconceptions, revealing a different side to the Tsar's drinking habits. Contrary to popular belief, Alexander II was not a drunkard. He was known for his exceptional strength and could indeed consume large quantities of alcohol due to his robust physique. General Pyotr Cherevin, head of Alexander III's security service, recalled that the Tsar could hold his liquor well, never displaying signs of inebriety except for becoming joyous and playful, much like a child. Alexander's close friend, Count Sergei Sheremetev, affirmed that while the Tsar enjoyed drinking, he remained moderate in his consumption. Despite his capacity for imbibing, Alexander III was rarely, if ever, completely drunk. As for his preferred drinks, Alexander's tastes were varied. He favored a mix of Russian Voss and champagne in equal parts, creating a unique and refreshing concoction. Among wines, he held a particular fondness for Madeira and Georgian wines from the Kakheti region. Additionally, the Tsar was known to enjoy whiskey, vodkas, and anisette liquor, playfully calling the latter farter. Number 7. Jahangir. The 4th Mughal Emperor of India, he had a well-documented drinking problem that plagued his health throughout his life. His fondness for alcohol and opium consumption began at an early age and intensified after he ascended to the throne. As his drinking habits took a toll on his well-being, Jahangir recognized the danger and sought help from a renowned physician, Hakim Humam. Upon consulting Hakim Humam, Jahangir was warned that if he didn't make significant lifestyle changes within the next 6 months, his health would deteriorate beyond remedy. This alarming revelation shocked the emperor into action, prompting him to gradually reduce his alcohol intake. He also turned to opium as a substitute, believing it to be less harmful to his health. Additionally, Jahangir began to dilute his alcohol with wine, limiting his consumption to the evenings. Despite his attempts to modify his habits, the effects of old age and prolonged heavy drinking took a toll on his health. In a bid to improve his well-being, he traveled to cold regions like Kashmir and Kabul, hoping to find relief. Unfortunately, it was during one of these visits to Kashmir that severe cold weather exacerbated his health issues, forcing him to return to Lahore. Tragically, on October 28, 1627, Jahangir passed away at Sarai Sababad in Bimber, succumbing to the consequences of his long-standing drinking problem. His followers temporarily buried his body in Bagsar Fort before eventually moving it to Chandara Bagh in Lahore, where his tomb stands as a major tourist attraction in present-day Lahore. Number 6. King George IV. The future English monarch led a life marked by excessive indulgence in alcohol and other vices. His addiction to alcohol began in his teenage years, during which he engaged in a string of inappropriate behaviors, including frequenting London brothels and the bedrooms of his mother's maids of honor. While his father, King George III, fought to expand royal powers, the young heir's behavior was deemed unacceptable, leading to his exile from the capital to his estate. During his exile from the responsibilities of politics and society, George IV entered into a secret marriage with Mary Ann Fitzherbert, who had been widowed twice before. However, his dynastic duties eventually compelled him to marry the German Princess Caroline of Braunschweig, a union that he reportedly found undesirable even while inebriated. In 1811, due to King George III's severe mental illness, George IV had to assume the role of regent, taking charge of royal affairs. Unfortunately, this marked the beginning of a series of lavish banquets and excessive consumption. Historical documents reveal that George's breakfast often consisted of 2 pigeons and 3 steaks, accompanied by a glass of brandy, a glass of dry champagne, a glass of port, and a bottle of Moselle, a truly extravagant start to the day. However, his overindulgence did not stop at alcohol. Before any public appearance or publication, George IV would take 100 drops of opium extract, effectively becoming addicted to drugs as well. By the time his father passed away in 1820 and George IV was proclaimed King of Great Britain and Ireland at the age of 58, he was already completely ensnared in the grips of alcohol and drug addiction. Throughout his reign, he ruled while perpetually in a drug-induced trance, never able to break free from his dangerous habits. Number 5. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. She was known for her spirited and stylish approach to drinking throughout her long and eventful life. Despite heavy and expensive indulgence in alcohol, she lived to the remarkable age of 101, becoming a beloved matriarch of the royal family. Her day would commence with her favorite drink, a concoction of gin and dubonnet, mixed in a ratio of 2 parts dubonnet, a pink vermouth, to 1 part gin. This morning tipple set the tone for the rest of the day. During lunchtime, she would savor red wine, followed by port afterwards. Her magic hour at 6 p.m. was a cherished time for her daily martini, and during dinner, she would delight in 2 glasses of Veuve Clicquot, a pink champagne. It's estimated that Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, consumed a grand total of 70 units of alcohol each week. To put that into perspective, the current recommendation for women in the UK is only 14 units per week. Despite surpassing this guideline significantly, she lived a remarkable and vibrant life. Her resilience and high spirits were particularly evident during the war. Despite the danger and upheaval, she refused to leave London, holding court at Buckingham Palace. During this challenging time, she ensured that everyone's spirits remained high by raiding the palace's wine cellars. Famously, she once remarked, quote, "I couldn't get through all my engagements without a little something," end quote. Her staff even made sure that there was always a bottle of gin in her carriage for moments between engagements. She was known to be a heavy drinker, and it is said that she rarely appeared in public without a glass of gin in hand. Her drinking habits earned her the nickname Gin-Soaked Queen among the public. Number 4. Tiberius. Emperor Tiberius, a Roman ruler during the days of the Roman Empire, was notorious for his excessive drinking and indulgent lifestyle. Like many of the ancient Romans, Tiberius likely started drinking at a young age, as wine was a common part of daily life, even for children in those times, during the 30s BCE. Tiberius's drinking habits were so extreme that his own soldiers nicknamed him Tiberius, a playful play on his name and the Latin word for drinking. Despite the growing moralistic attitudes towards public drunkenness in ancient Rome, Tiberius refused to let societal norms curb his pursuit of pleasure. After ruling for 12 years, Tiberius decided to escape the pressures of politics and abandoned the capital for his lavish villa on the picturesque island of Capri in the Bay of Naples. On the idyllic island, he freely indulged his appetites, and Roman biographer Suetonius recounts that Tiberius hosted alcohol-fueled secret adult parties there. These gatherings were shrouded in mystery, and to some accounts suggest they involved excessive drinking and wild orgies. Tiberius's signature drink, like many Romans of his time, was wine. However, his drinking habits went far beyond mere enjoyment and began to interfere with his responsibilities as ruler of the empire. As he became increasingly inebriated and engrossed in his vices, his focus shifted away from governing his empire effectively. Tiberius's addiction to alcohol and orgies ultimately had significant implications for the Roman Empire's future. In his later years, he became so debilitated by his excessive drinking that he declared his successor to be Caligula, another individual known for his love of alcohol. Number 3. Alexander the Great. One of the most renowned conquerors in ancient history, he had a notorious reputation for his heavy drinking habits. Raised in a culture where alcohol played a significant role, Alexander likely started drinking at a young age in the 340s BCE. It was not uncommon for wine to be an integral part of social, civic, and ritual life in the Macedonian court, with his father, Philip II, reputed to be a heavy drinker as well. Alexander's consumption of undiluted wine was frequent, and he probably drank it daily, considering that it was safer than water at the time. However, his excessive drinking had serious consequences, and his legacy was marred by several alcohol-induced incidents. One of the most famous incidents occurred in 328 BCE, when Alexander drunkenly javelined his close friend Clitus, who had criticized his decision to embrace Persian culture. This act of rage resulted in the death of his loyal companion and friend, showcasing the dangerous mix of alcohol and power. Alexander's penchant for sponsoring drinking contests also led to tragic outcomes, with some contests resulting in people perishing due to excessive consumption. Furthermore, his drunken orgy in 330 BCE at the Persian city of Persepolis resulted in the palace being set ablaze, causing immense destruction. This event, known as the Burning of Persepolis, was considered one of the most destructive acts of the ancient world. It caused immense damage to the city and its monuments, and sparked resentment among the Persian people towards Alexander. Alexander's forces spent several days looting and destroying the city, its monuments, and its libraries. The fire destroyed most of the ancient city, leaving it in ruins. This event marked the end of the Achaemenid Empire and the beginning of a new era in Persian history. Number 2. Peter the Great. When it comes to alcoholic emperors, Peter the Great of Russia stands as an iconic figure, known for his love of liquor and extravagant drinking habits. His fondness for alcohol only intensified after he formed a close friendship with Swiss officer Franz Lefort in the late 1680s and early 1690s, who notably encouraged Peter to indulge in debauchery and excessive drinking. This friendship marked a turning point, leading Peter to become a heavy drinker until the time of his passing in 1725. Peter's daily alcohol consumption was staggering, even by today's standards. He would start his mornings with a pint of vodka, setting the tone for the day ahead. Throughout the day, he would consume up to 40 glasses of wine before bedtime, showcasing his incredible tolerance for alcohol. The Tsar's passion for socializing over drinks was so profound that he even founded a drinking club where revelries would last all day and night. This club was famous for creating the penalty shot of vodka, further exemplifying Peter's deep attachment to alcohol. Moreover, Peter recognized the political significance of vodka and strategically gave the state a monopoly on this potent spirit, which allowed him to exert control and generate revenue. Among his preferred drinks, vodka and wine held a special place in Peter's heart. However, he stumbled upon his favorite concoction during his visit to England: brandy laced with peppers, a drink as strong and bold as the Tsar himself. Peter's reputation as a heavy drinker dates back to his teenage years in the German quarter of Moscow. Chronicles from the time reported that during visits to his European friends, such as Franz Lefort and Patrick Gordon, the young Tsar indulged in excessive drinking, leading to wild debauchery that became a popular pastime among noble women as well. At his royal parties, known as assemblies, Peter imposed a rule that anyone arriving late was obliged to consume a whole Great Eagle cup, a staggering 1.5 liters of vodka, in an instant, more than 50 fluid ounces. It was clear that the Tsar's love for alcohol knew no bounds. In moments of drunkenness, Peter himself acknowledged the effects of Bacchus's gift, admitting that he sometimes lost his mind and memory. A letter was written by Peter to his relative, Count Fyodor Apraksin. Quote, "I don't remember how I left because I was mighty delighted with the gift of Bacchus. This said, I beg everyone whom I have caused vexation to pardon me, especially those who were present at the time of my departure. May this occasion be forgotten." End quote. Number 1. Sultan Selim II. Also known as the Drunkard, he ruled the Ottoman Empire from 1566 to 1574. His reign was marked by excessive drinking and a preference for indulging in the pleasures of the harem, rather than the responsibilities of leadership. His father, Suleiman the Magnificent, had appointed him as his successor during his lifetime, leading to a smooth transition of power after his death. The nickname the Drunkard was not a mere label assigned by his enemies. It was a historical fact documented in various records. Selim II's love for alcohol and excessive drinking was widely acknowledged, even among his friends. His passion for drink and partying took precedence over matters of state, leading to poor political choices and a lackadaisical approach to governance. The Ottoman Empire suffered as a result of his neglect, contributing to its eventual downfall. As Sultan, Selim II lived a life of luxury and excess, enjoying a cushy existence where he could have whatever he wanted, including copious amounts of alcohol. His unbridled behavior led to a reputation as an alcoholic ruler. Unfortunately, no one in his court or inner circle could stop him from consuming excessive amounts of alcohol. Despite being an Arabic politician, Selim II's alcoholism stood out in a culture where the use of alcohol was generally forbidden by Islam. His fondness for drinking, particularly the sweet Cypriot wine, became legendary. It is said that he even ordered the capture of the island of Cyprus in 1571, likely due to his fondness for its wine. Legend has it that Selim II repeatedly instructed his Grand Vizier never to let him sober up completely, highlighting his addiction to alcohol. His love for wine and drunken excess overshadowed his duties as the Sultan, leading to a lack of focus on state affairs. Despite his reputation as the drunkard, Selim II was not entirely neglectful of his subjects. He showed favor to the Cypriots by lowering taxes and abolishing serfdom on the island. He treated the rest of his subjects well too, displaying moments of benevolence during his reign. He was also known for his patronage of the arts, including music, poetry, and literature. He even built a new palace in Constantinople, known as the Selimi Palace, to house his vast collection of artwork. The palace was one of the most splendid structures ever built in Constantinople, and it was filled with stunning works of art from all over the world. He was so passionate about the arts that he often invited famous artists and poets to his palace to show their work and celebrate their craft. History never fails to intrigue and surprise us. If you enjoyed our journey through the world of alcoholic emperors, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating stories.